Hello IndyCar fans! Welcome to Formula Pun Racer. Are you ready to hear about my video review of the first IndyCar round of the season?
Yes!
I knew you'd say that.
I knew you'd say that too. Well, why don't you sit down, grab yourself a St. Petersburger with fries and a drink, and I'll give you my review of the first IndyCar round of the season, which occurred on March 5th back in St. Petersburg, Florida. And as for this burger, courtesy of LP Burgers and Media, best burgers in town. If you ever come to Media, Pennsylvania, try out LP's Burgers and More. They are the best in town.
It's ready to go for a new racing season here in St. Pete, and Grosjean launches.
Grosjean with a great jump. That's what you want. Try to get clear of all those animals coming from behind, and it's Pato Award firing up the inside.
The race began with Andretti Autosport locking out the front row. The DHL car of Romain Grosjean delivered the car its pole position, while his teammate Colton Herta in the Gainbridge Honda started second. Only 4 corners into the first lap, and the race was about to be taken to new heights, literally. And it all started when Felix Rosenqvist in his Arrow McLaren brushed the wall with his left side, causing a chain reaction that caused Santino Ferrucci to rear-end Helio Castroneves, and in turn caused Stingray Robb and Simon Pagenaud, Castroneves' Meyershank Racing teammate, to sandwich the wall, and Devlin DiFrancesco to spin out. On top of that, Ferrucci's teammate Benjamin Peterson of Denmark, the Danish butter cookie rookie, well, with nowhere to turn, T-boned Devlin DiFrancesco, and boy, as I said, he went to new heights. Game over for Meyershank and AJ Foyt Racing, but thank goodness for those air screens, because, well, that kept Devlin DiFrancesco safe and nobody was hurt. But man, what a flight that was. And Connor Daly was lucky just to barely miss Devlin's car as he went flying.
Wow, holy smoke! Crash landing!
Yep, Connor was lucky to con retirement by squeezing through that narrow entry there, missing DiFrancesco's car. The race would restart on lap 6, with Grosjean in the lead and Herta second, and Andretti 1-2 at this point. And the race would stay green for the most part, up until lap 42, when more exciting action would unfold. When Rinus VK's Ed Carpenter entry hit the tire barrier, with Jack Harvey right behind of Rahal Letterman nowhere to go, hit him in turn, and in this accordion effect of chain reactions, Kyle Kirkwood of Andretti Autosport, just like his Canadian teammate, went to new heights, literally, as he went catapulting over Harvey and Rinus' car.
Wow, holy smoke! Crash landing!
You feel it?
Boy, it kills my back just looking at that. Can you imagine the jolt Kyle Kirkwood felt going from head to toe as he landed on that one? That's got to be a very painful thud. Miraculously, Kyle Kirkwood was able to limp his car all the way around the track back to the pits for repairs and to continue on with the race, even though he was out of contention to win. The race restarted on lap 50, but since they say yellows breed yellows, unfortunately just a few corners in that restarted lap, it was game over for Colton Herta when he went side by side with Will Power going into one of those corners. Will had the better right of way, and with Herta out of the groove, Colton's pride hurt a lot as he hit the tire barrier.
Game over,
Yeah, unfortunately for Colton Herta and his car, there was no bridge of success to be gained trying to get aggressively by Will Power the way he did. So as you can see, this beautiful car was out for the count in the race, and Andretti Autosport's last hope for victory in the St. Pete GP lay with Romain Grosjean in his DHL Honda. 5 laps after Colton's retirement, it was back to green, and Scott McLaughlin of New Zealand driving for Team Penske would take the lead with Romain Grosjean right behind. And he would hold on to the lead until it was time for the leaders to cycle through their next round of pits. And while Grosjean was gaining in on McLaughlin as McLaughlin took his pit stop on lap 72. They were eventually side by side as Grosjean was on hot tires and McLaughlin was on cold as he exited the pits. They would go side by side with each other as they were going into lap 72, but a few corners in, they wouldn't give each other an inch, and unfortunately, it was DHL who delivered bad news to Romain. Grosjean was out. And McLaughlin, even though his car was damaged, was able to limp on. No doubt Grosjean was visibly upset, but you'd probably think after a situation like this, would Grosjean and McLaughlin go at each other's throats for an incident like this? Actually, no. They actually bore no ill will with each other, as they're very good friends, and they actually hugged and made up, so there's nothing bad to talk about. But there you have it. Andretti Autosport's hopes were over, despite the fact Kyle Kirkwood was still in the race a few laps down. The race restarted on lap 79 with Mexico's Patricio Ward of Arrow McLaren in the lead, and the Ganassi boys of Marcus Ericsson second and Scott Dixon third. The racing action was far from over, as with 5 laps to go, Penske driver Joseph Newgarden, you could say he either went out in a blaze of glory, or you could say his race car was too hot to handle, literally, as an oil fire erupted in the left rear of his car. He made it back to the pits, but it was all over for the Penske boy.
Where's Marcus?
Sean Connery asking me twice, where's Marcus? Well, interestingly enough, for those who don't know, there were in fact 2 different Marcuses in the same race for the very first time. And crazier still is the fact that they are teammates at Chip Ganassi Racing. With that said, I'll give you the result of the first of 2 Marcuses right now. Marcus Armstrong of New Zealand in his Indycar rookie career, he finished 11th for the team. He will only do the road and street courses for this season, but Takuma Sato of Japan, 2-time Indy winner, will do the oval courses for Chip Ganassi Racing in the number 11 car. And as for last year's Indy 500 winner Marcus Ericsson of Sweden, well, he was second behind Patricio Ward with 4 laps to go, but on the front stretch, Patricio Ward's engine kind of faltered because of what they call a plenum fire, which I'll explain in a moment, which forced Pato to let off the throttle, letting Marcus sail on by to take the lead, putting Ward in a Chip Ganassi sandwich, or being the meat in a Ganassi sandwich. No doubt about it, Ward was not happy at all with this. From there on, it would seem that Marcus Ericsson would just sail on through to take his first IndyCar win of the season. Ward would finish second, and Scott Dixon third. So quite a way for Ganassi to once again be a chip off the old block at IndyCars. A plenum fire occurs when a mixture of air and fuel ignites prematurely before it gets into the cylinders. It starves the engine's air intake and causes the engine not to provide power. This is what caused Patricio Ward to let off the throttle, letting Marcus Ericsson sail on by, and then to push onto the throttle again to get power back on. So that's what a plenum fire is for those who don't know. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that the Mexican, in contrast to Perez winning in Saudi Arabia, couldn't give the fans something exciting to talk about. But with Marcus Ericsson winning the race, well, it's as sweet as Sweden. So I'm sure we're all fishing for him to win some more and probably even defend his Indy 500 championship. Oops. Man, I wish I had that guy's looks. By the way, Lelouch V. Britannia from Code Geass, if you're watching this, as well as IndyCar fans who are also fans of anime or just love Japan in general, be glad to know that the Japanese engine manufacturer Honda not only takes the first win of the season, but they have a good sporting chance to strengthen their position as the second winningest engine manufacturer in Indy 500 history. If they win the 2023 Indy 500, they will have won their 16th as an engine manufacturer, making them the second winningest behind Offenhauser, which has 27. And as for why I decided to use Ke Huy Quan twice in a row in this video to acknowledge those crash landing cars, I couldn't help it because I'm still so hyped up about the fact that Ke Huy Quan is an Oscar winner for the first time. And once again, Ke Huy Quan, if you're watching this, I like to say congratulations, and I'm still so hyped about your win. It's so cool!
Very funny.
With 8 weeks to go before the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500, which I will be attending, recent news has come out that 2014 Indy 500 winner Ryan Hunter Reay, after 12 years racing for Andretti Autosport and after a 1-year absence, will be back to race in the greatest spectacle in racing in a one-race deal with Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. So let's see how that turns out. As for the next IndyCar round of the season, the first oval round takes place this April 2nd at Texas Motor Speedway. This is where Takuma Sato jumps into the number 11 car to replace Marcus Armstrong for the ovals. So grab yourself a piece of Texas toast and tune in to watch the Indy cars if you're not interested in Formula One, which is happening the same day at Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia, in the hours before that. That is happening this time for F1 if you're interested in that too. Albert Park, Australian Grand Prix. Let's see if we can throw some shrimp and steak on the barbie for Oscar Piastri, the only Aussie in the field. But Daniel Ricciardo, former Red Bull driver, but also now reserve driver for the team, is back in style to show off for the fans. And it's going to be a very interesting race. Can the Red Bulls keep up their dominant performance, or will they falter and will someone else win in Australia? And who will be fastest in Texas? Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching my video, everyone. If you like my videos and staying up to speed, please subscribe to Formula Pun Racer and be sure to hit the notification bell below for when my next videos are posted. So, if you're interested in Texas and or Australia, be sure to tune in to those times, and I'll see you all in the next video. I'm Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.